Hi, I'm Chef Keith Snow. Welcome to my kitchen. I want to show you how to make a really great stuffing, or down here in the South, dressing. We call it dressing. We don't put it inside the bird. It's much safer anyway. We cook it on the side. This one is a twist on a traditional Southern stuffing. Down here we like to use cornbread in our dressing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use red corn, which is just a little twist. Red corn, sausage, apple, and cremini mushroom dressing. It's going to rock. Let me get started. Wide, heavy-duty pan here. We're going to take a little extra virgin olive oil. And what we're going to do is put in here 1 cup of organic celery. Nice and hot, as you can tell. And then here we have 1.5 cups of organic onions, 1 cup of organic celery, and 1 bell pepper diced up. Throw all of that in there. I'll put that aside. Now what this does is give a lot of structure to the dish, although this will cook way down. So now we'll add kosher salt, black pepper, stir that through. And now we're going to add our sausage. And these are 2 sausages, and these were whole sausages. One of them is a sweet Italian sausage, the other one is a spicy Italian sausage. And we'll take that. You can omit this if you want to, but I think it makes the dish. So now we got to let this cook down for a few minutes until all the flavors meld together, the sausage gets nice and cooked, and the vegetables get soft. It'll take a few minutes. Okay, so our mixture in our pan has cooked down quite a bit. We're going to go ahead now and add 1 apple. Got the skin on. This is a tart apple, actually called a Gold Rush, like a Granny Smith. Add that right in. Okay, we've cooked the apple about 5 minutes. That's all it needs. This is going to go in the oven too. So now at this point, we need to take this mixture out of here, and I'm going to reach right over here. I've got a big work bowl that we're going to need, so we're going to scoop out this mixture because we need to make room to cook our mushrooms. Now that we have some room in our pan, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil for moisture, and in goes our cremini mushrooms. And as you know, mushrooms are mostly water, so what looks like a lot now will cook out. A little salt, some fresh pepper, remembering to season every layer because there's multiple layers in this recipe. There's going to be cornbread later, we've got this, the vegetables we just cooked. If you don't season each layer, you're not going to have good tasting food, so you want to always remember that. So now we're going to let these cook and saute in here to cook down about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll proceed. Okay, now our mushrooms have cooked down, and I want to show you something before we proceed. This is a tip that I often give you, and it's a great example of it right here. Look at the bottom of that pan. Now, no self-respecting chef is going to take those mushrooms out without deglazing and bringing that moisture and that flavor back up. All that stuff that looks like burnt stuff, that's flavor. And that's the difference between home cooking and restaurant cooking. So I'm going to reach over here, and I've got some sherry. Mushrooms and sherry get along pretty well. I've turned off the flame. And at home, if you've got gas or any type of open flame, you can't really pick this up too easily, so turn off the flame before you deglaze. Now you can turn it back on, and you just want to scrape this stuff off the bottom. You can see that it's coming up, and now you didn't lose all that flavor that you've worked so hard to build. So I will use my wooden spoon here, and I'm pressing down pretty hard. You can see that the liquid is getting very dark, the brown color, and it's also boiling. That is just what you want. Now all of that fond, all of the flavor that's stuck to the bottom, the caramelization of the mushrooms and all the other ingredients, now we've got it. It's come off the pan. I've got the pan well deglazed. I'll even scrape the sides a little bit. And this is the difference between looking like an okay cook or a rock star in a kitchen, so make sure you give this a try. All right, now I'm going to add these to the rest of our dressing ingredients, and I'll show you how to put that together. Okay, so we're at our final assembly stage. Here are our hot mushrooms, and we need to add them to our big mixing bowl. So we're going to lift this up. This is pretty hot, no lie. We're going to dump all of that flavor, the reduction liquid that we got off the bottom. Now we'll take this and set it aside on our marble that's hot. Now let's move this here. This right here on the board is fresh sage, and this is the essence of Thanksgiving. And this came right out of my own garden. You don't have to have it in your own garden. You can get it at the store if you're not a gardener. But the smell of this is extremely aromatic, and unfortunately people only seem to use it at Thanksgiving, but it's good in a lot of other dishes all year long. So we're going to add about 3½ tablespoons of fresh sage, and we want this amazing Thanksgiving-y smell to come off, so that's why we've added quite a bit of sage in there. So here is the red corn bread that I mentioned. Here in the South, we like to use cornbread in our dressings as a binder. Up north or in the Midwest, they'll just use day-old bread or things like that. But this red corn has a lot of flavor, and this came from a stone ground mill. You don't have to do that. You could use regular yellow corn, will work well. But I made this earlier today. You could see it looks like a Frisbee, but it's not. We're going to break it up by hand, and this is the fun part. You can see my camera too can get a close-up. This is the real deal. This is red corn, like I mentioned, that was ground on a stone wheel, so it's going to have a good nutritional content. So what we need to do is just break it up into pieces, and this will be the mass or structure to our red corn dressing that we're doing here. So no science here, just kind of get into it with your hands and break it up. And as you can see, this is fairly dry, and that's what I would like. I don't want this to be moist because we're going to add some liquid to this in a few minutes. So now we'll just start some initial combining, and you'll get a sense that this has a lot of different things going on in there. Apples, sausage, all those vegetables, mushrooms, red cornbread. This will be great stuff. Now we're going to add some low sodium chicken broth. Probably 2 cups worth. We're also going to season this mixture because remember, there's no salt in that cornbread, and that's a lot of cornbread. So the bulk of that will make the whole dish taste bland if you don't re-season this layer. So black pepper. And I am quite confident that a little more salt will be needed. So I'll reach and grab a good pinch of kosher salt. Mix this well. Then we're going to put it in a rimmed baking container, like a little, sort of like a casserole. We're going to put that in the oven at 350 degrees, and that's going to cook for about 40 minutes until it's very hot and the cornbread softens up and all these flavors meld together. And this will be the best dressing or stuffing you've ever tried. Okay, here's our beautiful Southern style dressing with our red corn, apples, sausage, and mushrooms. As you can see, it's nice and soft, Look at all those textures and flavors. It's going to be a beautiful dish. Try this one today.
To see more tips, techniques, and videos, visit harvesteating.com. 4 seasons, 1 lifestyle.